Welcome again to the Old Principle. 我就是老校长. And we're going to have another interesting English session today. As has been just recently, a lot of the stories come from my life. This will be lesson number 281. 281. 有没有任何一个人反对? Does anybody object? And so, what's the story about? First, listen as Mrs. Ash reads the story all the way through. Of course, there will be a few things that may be a little difficult, but no problem. We'll be right back to explain it sentence by sentence. Okay, here we go.
Story 281. Does anybody object? Connie had no difficulty finding bridesmaids because she had 4 younger sisters, and then my younger sister was added to the group. It was not so easy for me to find groomsmen, since for every bridesmaid there must be a matching groomsman. The wedding began and carried on without incident until the climax of the service. Just before the minister reads the vows, he will say something like, "Is there anyone here who has just reasons why these 2 people cannot be married?" This is routine procedure, and I have never ever heard of anyone objecting. Just as the minister made this pronouncement, I heard a sound behind me and many silent gasps. Oh, no. My father bolted from his front row seat and bounded up to the platform. Everybody thought that my father was objecting. But the surprising thing was that he never said a word. He came up beside me as 300 people in the audience stopped breathing. What was he going to do? Even though my dad was a very quiet person, he had a keen eye, and he had seen something no one else had seen. My cousin Grady, who was standing closest to me, was beginning to sway back and forth. Just as Dad arrived by my side, Grady fainted and toppled over into his arms. Everybody sighed with relief when they understood what was happening. The disruption was only momentary as Dad dragged Grady out a side door. We all waited a few more minutes, and the service resumed. Dad missed the rest of the service because he was attending Grady. By the way, there was nothing wrong with my cousin. After the service, he was just fine. Sometimes when we stand motionless for long periods of time, our blood begins to pool in the legs. The brain temporarily lacks blood, and we feel faint. All is well that ends well. The rest of the wedding ceremony went off without a hitch.
Welcome back. Connie had no difficulty in finding bridesmaids. Now, remember, we're talking about getting married. And we're talking, several lessons are talking about the different things that happened while we got married, before and after, all of these things. So, the issue in a traditional church wedding is to find bridesmaids and groomsmen, 伴娘 and then 伴郎, okay? Groomsmen, 伴郎, and 伴娘 is bridesmaids, okay? So now you've heard that. She had no difficulty finding bridesmaids because she had 4 younger sisters. And then we add one more, my younger sister. So by the time you have 4 plus 1 is, that's right, 5. So there are 5. Now, normally we don't have so many. Well, yeah, I would say normally we don't have that many bridesmaids in a wedding. You know, one or two. 5 of them, this is just a little bit much. But you have all these sisters and they all want to be involved, so we let them be involved. Now, and then of course there's my younger sister, and she was about the same age as some of them. Going on. It was not so easy for me to find groomsmen because every bridesmaid must have a matching 相配的伴郎. So usually what happens is that they march in together. So one bridesmaid and one groomsman, they march in, 走到前面, so they're marching in together. So if you have 5 bridesmaids, of course, you've got to have 5 groomsmen, and they matching. And one of the problems that we had in our wedding is that they were all different heights. Some were taller, some were shorter, and this was, we had to spend a little bit time to make sure they were matching. Okay, just the same height. Okay, going on. The wedding began and carried on without incident. Without incident. What does that mean? Without incident, 平安无事. 平安无事, without incident. So, if it went on without incident until 一直到, okay, the climax, 这个高潮的时候. Now, something is going to happen. The climax, 高潮, going on. Just before the minister reads the vows. Okay, so what are the vows? Minister, 这个证婚的牧师 ，OK， 传道人，他念出来 the vows. These vows are 婚姻的誓词 ，OK, the vows. These are, it's kind of like the promises you make to your wife and she makes to you. These are promises. Sometimes they actually say them themselves, but most of the time the minister reads them and then people just say, I do, okay, okay, or 我愿意, I am willing, yes. Okay, is there anything, okay, is there anyone here who has just reason why these 2 people cannot be married? Okay, now this is quite, in this case, just reason, 足够的理由, okay, just reason, or something that's reasonable, okay. Is there anyone here? 有没有任何一个人有足够的理由 what? 这两位不能结合. Now, it's traditional in American weddings to always say this. Nowadays, some places they don't say it, but traditionally it was. And remember, I am the 老校长. I'm from a long time ago, so we were very traditional. Everything we did 非常传统的, okay? So, is there anyone here who has just reason not So these two people cannot be married. Going on. This routine procedure, 这个例行的这个步骤, okay, it's something that it just is done. I have never heard anyone objecting. 我从来没听过人家这个反对. But it's just routine 例行的步骤, routine procedure. Now, going on. Just as the minister made this pronouncement. Okay, what's the difference between an announcement and a pronouncement? Pronouncement is maybe a little bit, they're about the same, 这个宣告. Okay, but in this case, pronouncement may be a little bit formal. Just as the minister made this pronouncement, I heard a sound behind me, many silent gasps. Okay? So I heard something going on behind me, but I didn't know what it was. So I heard a sound behind me, many silent, 没有声音的, but then I heard it, so 肯定是有声音的, 非常低调的, okay? Gasp 是有一点这个呼吸的这个声音呢, like it's not something that's very loud, but you can tell when person are gasping. And then, oh no, 糟糕. Going on. My father bolted from his front row seat. First of all, my father 是我的父亲呢, bolted. You could say 跳出来. 他前面的这个灯牌, okay, the 灯子, okay, he's sitting there on the front row seat, of course, because he's my father, so he is in the very front, okay, so he bolted. To bolt means to 跳出来 or 跑出来, okay, it means 很冲动的, okay, bolted. And he bounded up to the platform. Bound meaning, if you bound, it's 跳. It's a nice way of saying running very fast. And so he ran up to the platform, 那个讲台. We were all up on the platform. And so he bounded, okay, up to the platform. Everybody thought that my father was objecting. Everybody. 大家都认为 that my father was objecting. And of course, for a very brief amount of time, they said, oh, 糟糕. I mean, how many times have you seen this happen? Not very many times. So everybody thought he was objecting, going on. But the surprising things, 蛮惊讶的事情就是 he never said a word. In fact, I was thinking about this morning as I was preparing for this lesson. I said, even if he had something to say, you still wouldn't want to say it. 没办法解释. So he just ran up there. Suddenly, now here's what happened. He came up beside me. 他跑到我的旁边了. Okay, he came up beside me as 300 people in the audience. Okay, 观众 stopped breathing. 他们就停止呼吸 like, and it's just kind of like you're stopping breathing completely. And he came up beside me. What is he going to say? What is he going to do? Going on. What was he going to do? Going on. Even though my dad was a very quiet person. 我的爸爸是一个非常非常 what can you say? 害羞 yeah, 安静的一个人. He's a very quiet person. He had a keen eye. 他的这个双眼非常敏锐 very discerning. Okay? He had a keen eye. 他的双眼很敏锐 and he had seen something no one else had seen. 他看到其他人都没有看到. So what did he see that nobody else, in all those 300 people, what did he see that nobody else had seen? Going on. My cousin, Grady 是我的堂弟 who was standing closest to me. Do you know why? Because he was the shortest. And so he was closest to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, taller. My brother, who was the tallest, he was the farthest away. My cousin Grady, who was standing closest to me, was beginning to sway back and forth. 摇晃来。他看到 nobody else in the whole church saw this, but my dad did. He knew something was going to happen. Going on. Just as Dad arrived, okay, by my side, 到了我的旁边, Grady fainted, 昏倒了，真正的是昏倒了, and toppled into his arms, toppled over, 倒下来, and into his arms. Now, it says toppled. To topple means to fall down. In this case, 倒下来 is probably the best translation. 倒在 into his arms. Okay, 手背. Really, it probably means hands, but we have this saying, it just fell into 胸怀. If you say into your arms, sometimes that means 胸怀. But in this case, it just means that he fell down and into his waiting arms. He was there. He just went, boom. Okay, going on. Everybody sighed with relief. 大家都松了一口气. When 当他们明白所发生的是什么呢？为什么是发生的？ Then they sighed with relief. 松了一口气. Going on. the disruption, okay, the disruption, 这个混乱 you can say disruption, 这个 was only momentary. What does momentary mean? Momentary means 一下子，混乱只不过是一下子就过去 okay? The disruption was only momentary as Dad drug Grady out the side door. My father 就拖着他到这个侧门啊 Okay, they're right on the side door of the church. He just drug him out. Maybe I'll tell you another. He did this a second time. I saw him do it a second time, but I'll tell you about that if I have time. Okay, now, going on. We all waited a few more moments. 又是等一下子 very fast. And then the service 这个内场仪式就这个恢复正常 everything was going just fine. Dad missed the rest of the service. 他错过这个以下的这个仪式 Why? Because he wasn't there. He was attending Grady. Okay, attending in this case, sometimes to attend is 上课, to attend, 上课. But in this case, attending means to stay with someone. In this case, you could probably even say 照顾他. He was attending Grady. He was staying with him and helping him and reviving him. 让他这个恢复. Going on. By the way, there was nothing wrong with my cousin. 我的堂弟根本就没有问题呢. Okay? After the service, he was just fine. After the wedding service, 这个婚礼过去, he was fine. No problem. 一切都很好. Going on. Sometimes when we stand motionless, sometimes while you are standing and you are motionless, you just stand there and 动的不动. When you're standing motionless for long periods of time,很长的时间, so you're just standing there, you're not moving. What happens? Our blood, 我们的血液, 我们的血 begins to pool in the legs. In this case, pool, of course you know a pool is 游泳池, okay? But in this case, pool means 就流到这个腿部. So the blood starts to going down, 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 down. And what happens? The brain temporarily lacks blood and we feel faint. 这个头脑临时缺少这个足够的血 okay? And we feel faint. 我们感到很头昏了. Many people, this happens to many people, okay? Okay, we have a saying, all is well that ends well. How would you translate that? If you were to translate that, this is a very famous saying, all is well that ends well. Okay, 如果结果是好的，那一切所过的 也是好的. Now, that may not necessarily be true, but all is well that ends well, which simply means no matter what happened, if the final result is good, okay, you can relax. Okay. The rest of the wedding ceremony went off without a hitch. Now, remember, earlier in this lesson we said without incident, 平安无事. Okay, here is another way of saying 平安无事. To go off, or it went off, this is past tense, without hitch, simply means that everything was very 平安无事. In other words, everything went very smoothly, 很顺利. Okay, so I still have just a few seconds. I tell you, one more time, my father ran up and somebody fainted in his arms. This time, though, a little different. This time it was raining outside. So when he drug the person outside, there was nothing out there. And so the person says, I want to lay down. I'm so tired. Want to lay down. And my dad had to hold him up because he couldn't lay down in the rain, the wet ground. Anyway, fortunately in my wedding, the weather was very good. It was summer, so we didn't have that problem. Well, we do have an email address. Our email address is theoldprinciple@gmail.com, and our website is www.theoldprinciple.org. So there you have it. I hope that you will join us next time with a friend for another interesting lesson. Until then, bye-bye.